to another exciting adventure of the Heroes Table. Well, you gotta say Retro Rewind. So hold it and ready. And now for a special episode of Retro Rewind. That's a good enough. We call it Retro Rewind. Whatever the logo that comes up right here.
Yes, it's a great logo.
Isn't that wonderful?
I love it.
Did Tom clean that up, or did you clean that up?
No, I think you did the whole thing.
Okay, I did it myself. So this is Tom Seiler and Bill Huggis. And we're here talking about, we're doing retro reviews because what we're doing is we're looking at films that we liked when we were kids.
And still like.
But we're looking at them from people who saw them originally and had experiences with them originally.
Yes.
And we're doing a review and talking about a few things that we have here to look at as well. So the movie we're doing today is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Or Silent Running.
Silent Running.
Which had guys from 2001: A Space Odyssey working on it, and it ended up looking, in a lot of ways, as good or in sometimes better than 2001.
Yes.
It was, the story was about a character who loved plants and loved nature, and Earth's plants and all of its trees and fauna and everything were, some reason or other, stowed away on a bunch of ships orbiting the planet. And then at some point, the company that ran the ships decided to get rid of all the plants and everything and basically blow up the remaining Earth flora and fauna.
Yes.
And of course, Bruce Dern, who is our hero of the story, killed all the humans on the ship.
He did. Some people have said the message of the film is kill for the environment, but I don't know.
You know, and a lot of people have done that now.
Yes, it's
which
true.
is great.
Yes.
But actually, when we saw it, there weren't that many environmental things. And one of the things about the movie was it starts off with a song by Joan Baez. Yeah, it has a couple of songs by Joan Baez, and she was actually listed as one of the stars of the movie in the trailer. Trivia. But the thing was, the song was very melancholy, and you know, when you're young kids watching this movie, it really got you kind of, you know, you're thinking, oh my gosh, we got to protect the environment, and now that's why we're all recyclers and stuff.
I'm a big recycler, yeah.
That's cool though. But so anyway, we're all recyclers, and we did that because we were in a time where that was an important thing, and that's what the message of the movie was. But what was the story behind the grant? Quarter there a grant for this film?
Oh, gee, they were. Easy Rider in 1969 was a big hit. It was a very low-budget film, maybe $250,000.
Because of all the drug scenes.
Well, yeah, it had a lot of things going for it. But it was a big hit. It was Dennis Hopper directed that, and
did he?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I mean it was a big breakout film for Jack Nicholson. He got an Oscar nomination for that film, and Universal Studios said, "Hey, you know, why don't we take $5 million and we'll give $1 million to 5 different directors, turn them loose, give them final cut, let them make the films they want to make, and maybe one of them will hit." Now I can't tell you what the 5 films were, except that
Silent
Running was one,
yeah.
and American Graffiti was one.
Oh, okay.
Now that one hit for a
Didn't know
guy
that.
named George Lucas, and that was the beginning of that.
He did that red. The guys, the guys who shot the military pilots, Red Squad or something like that.
Oh.
And he did a space movie too, or two.
A couple of space movies.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So who was it that ended up getting the money to do this? Was it Doug Trumbull?
That was Doug Trumbull. He had done all the special effects for 2001, and he wanted to get into directing, not just be a special effects guy, and so they gave him a shot, as this was his first film as a director.
One of the things that I'd heard is that he wanted, the original book of 2001 had the big event happening over Saturn.
That's right.
And in the movie, Kubrick wanted to change that to Jupiter for some reason.
Actually, they didn't have the technology to do the rings right. And Jupiter and Saturn were very similar apart from the rings.
Yeah.
And they had enough time to get the planet right, but they couldn't get the rings done. So,
I didn't know that.
they were stuck with Jupiter instead
Oh,
of
how
Saturn.
funny.
And so by the time Trumbull got his shot to do Silent Running, he says, I can do the rings too.
Yeah.
So he made it Saturn.
Yeah, and that's what I understood, is he wanted to really have this thing happen around the rings of Saturn. And if you look at that scene where they're going through the rings, it almost looks very similar to the whole Time Gate piece of 2001. So that
Yes.
was his version of the Time Gate.
Yes, yes, there's a bit of a light show there, and there's a comment, one of the characters makes a comment about these ships weren't designed for shooting the rapids. And those big, you know, the rings look like solid planes, but they're actually full of these big chunks of ice and meteoroid dust and things like that. So, yeah, we lose a robot to Louis. Louis gets knocked off the
Oh,
ship.
that was so sad.
It was very sad.
And I'm being silly, but in actuality, the robots tended to be the most emotional characters, like in a lot of movies, and they were the
Yes.
forerunners for the drones in Star Wars, I think, right? Or
Yeah.
R2-D2.
R2-D2, yes.
You know, it was a little character that would bleep and bloop.
Right.
And actually, we have a couple of things here from Tom's collection that these are drone parts.
Yes, they are.
These are actual drone parts. These are the feet, right?
Mhm.
The feet that the skeletal parts of the feet
Mhm.
to the drones. And you've since, you know, luckily with the internet and people being able to connect, you talked to Cheryl, right?
Yes, Cheryl Sparks. She and I have become Facebook friends. These are very cleverly designed in that takes the weight of the person. These people walked around on their hands in these, and so this is made so that the weight is not at all on their fingers. It's just on the palms of their hands.
What was the story with the pink?
We still don't know. I ran that by Cheryl, and she said, I'm a girl. I should have had 2 pink toes, but we think it's red for right. We think it's a code, you know, for red for right.
So this is essentially a mystery that
It
may
is.
never be solved.
I suspect it's red for right, meaning the red toe goes on the right foot or hand.
Or
as
red
the
for
case may be.
righteous. Thank you. Thank you. Our lovely assistants have brought in
they
drone
are
models,
lovely. And they're
which
lovely.
oddly enough, when these things are completed, they will look exactly like miniature versions of the drones. In fact, these are the best drone models ever made. And where can you get those, Tom?
Why, you can get them from me, ultimately at bronsoncanyon.com.
That's bronsoncanyon.com.
.com. It's like it says right there.
That's right.
Sweet.
Isn't it amazing how that
It
happens?
is. Of course, it's reversed as I'm looking at it from here, but
But it still spells Bronson Canyon.
it does.
It's
It does. It's just backwards.
Sambanyanyan.
There you go.
Okay. So anyway, Tom is making drone model kits, which are really fabulous. These things are really awesome. And you're also making, can we say?
A full-size
full-size
ultimately,
drone
full-size drone
kit.
in kit form, ultimately.
So keep your eyes on bronsoncanyon.com.
Absolutely.
The other thing you've got here is, if everyone hasn't figured this out already, this is a piece of the Valley Forge.
Valley Forge model, the 26-foot spaceship model that was used in the film. This is one of the fuel tanks off the back end of the ship, and it was covered with little triangles, and I have yet
Little
to,
doodads and doodads.
all kinds of doodads and doohickeys and greeblies, as they like
No,
to call them.
these parts of the
Oh
Valley
yes,
Forge.
oh yes.
You know, and of course you've got the two-tone paint and some of it's gloss, some of it's
Yes,
kind of
it's
brush
got the
looking.
shading. Again, stuff they learned making 2001.
And these are casts off of
No,
tank parts.
these
right?
are actual tank parts.
These are
That one's kind of melted down.